Welcome to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast with Darren Mitchell. If you're a sales leader looking to take your leadership to a whole new level, then this is the podcast for you. We'll be exploring tips, techniques, and strategies to help you take your leadership to the exceptional level and allow you to enjoy more money, more meaning, and better sales results. Welcome back to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast, and a very special welcome back after 6 months. Kylie Denton, the Director and Founder of Performance Advisory Group. How are you, my friend?
I am great. It's so good to see you again and good to be back.
We're just talking, well, actually, to be brutally honest, we've been talking for about half an hour before we press record, and we thought, you know what, we should be recording this conversation. So for those of you listening to this right now, we're not going to let you know what we spoke about, but it was incredible. It was inspiring. It was all about leadership. It was all about pricing. It was all about attraction of clients.
Giving back.
And giving back. So maybe we'll have to record. That's what we should do one day. We should actually do a recording of a conversation between two people, just talking about maybe some of the challenges around business and how we do stuff that other people can listen in on. That would be fascinating.
Yeah, it sure would be. Because I often say to business owners, and we were talking literally about group coaching, weren't we? And one of the things you said, the value of that is you get to learn from the best, right? You actually get to have some rich, robust conversations that actually you might not be able to have inside your head.
Totally. I'm not sure about you. It's very dangerous with sometimes the things that go inside my head. So I've got to get them out.
Yeah.
Got to get them out. Hey, Kylie, it's been 6 months. I was looking at this yesterday because 6 months ago we did a podcast. In fact, it was the 26th of February, 2025.
Was it?
And we talked about the power of human connection in sales and in leadership. And at that time, we spoke about, hey, we need to get back and talk about the love languages and how it applies to leadership and how it applies to sales. So it's taken 6 months, but I'm very pleased to have you back. I know you've been really busy and I've been busy as well, but just it's amazing how quickly time flies.
Oh, I know. And nearly a year older, isn't it? Right?
Oh, you know what? 2025, I was thinking about this the other day. Like 5 years ago, we were locked down in Melbourne, and you probably had some sort of restrictions up in Queensland as well. But it's like the last 5 years has literally felt like minutes. It's incredible, and I don't know whether it's because we're getting older or whether this time is somehow speeding up. It's just phenomenal how quickly it's gone.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think that's that reflection. I'm off to Melbourne actually next week, and I was looking back at what was going on, right, 5, 10 years ago. And 5 years ago, we were in lockdown. We were clearly not nearly as bad as what it was in Melbourne and Sydney, thankfully. We were still allowed out. But a lot has changed, and I think we've come far, haven't we?
Oh, we have, absolutely. And look, there's always positives that come out of it. I think about the fact that we can now, we're talking about running masterminds and workshops and stuff like that. 99% of my facilitation was face-to-face leading up to 2020.
Yeah.
And it sort of flipped on its head for the next 2 years, and then it sort of started to come back. And there's a lot of clients now that prefer the face-to-face, but there's also a lot of clients that now feel that it's easier, more cost effective and time effective to have people coming in via Zoom or via Teams.
Totally.
It means that sort of for us, we've got access to, I guess, a wider pool of people and organizations, and it's cost effective for organizations because they don't have to charge. We don't have to charge them to. I mean, I know you probably fly at the front end of the plane. I don't have to charge them.
No, I don't. I don't.
But it's just
No, but I agree.
There's always good things that come out of it, but there's also a lot of not so good things. So, hey, but I'm looking forward to this conversation. We're going to talk about love languages, but I'd like to, for those who perhaps didn't listen to the episode we recorded back in February, and I highly recommend they do. And if you haven't listened to it, do yourself a favor and please go back and listen. Could you just give us a little bit of background in terms of what you've done, your work, your specialty, and what you guys do at Performance Advisory Group?
Yeah, sure. Look, there's probably two really key areas that we work in Performance Advisory Group. The first one is working with stressed, overwhelmed, and high-pressured leadership. Okay. So leaders that feel like they're constantly under pressure, they're constantly being pulled from pillar to post, putting out fires all the time. And we really develop them to have that more confidence, calm, and competence around how to lead, right?
Mhm.
People leadership is complex. People are hard. I got a background in psychology and people are complex, okay? And many leaders are put into a leadership role because they're great technicians or great practitioners or an accidental leader and they just all of a
Yeah.
sudden ended as a leader. So we help them to take control back of that part because there's a lot of stressed and overwhelmed leaders out there. And the second part is we do a lot of sales performance coaching with financial planners and
Yep.
financial service organizations, really helping them to have better quality, meaningful conversations with clients in order to
Mm.
be able to uncover clients' real needs
Yeah.
and advise them.
Yeah. And it's a niche, right? So
It's a niche, yeah.
it's a niche, and even we were talking before that the people that you're I guess you're working in your ideal client, and a lot of them are relatively newer within the financial planning
Yeah.
market, and they're advising clients about their long-term strategies, but not always having their own long-term strategy about what's their professional development. So helping them to build those better relationships and how to sell the value to their clients, which is
Yeah.
all about.
It's really interesting. Next week, I'm heading to Melbourne for a conference, and I do a lot of sales performance coaching with financial planners, but many of the conferences that I'm being asked to speak at the moment to financial planners is around health and well-being,
Mm.
around mindset, around making sure that they're resilient. So I think the thing that I'm seeing a lot at the moment is we run a business, we work hard, we look after our clients, we
Yeah.
help provide them with peace of mind, but we actually are not putting that oxygen mask on ourselves first.
Mm.
And we're feeling disconnected, we're feeling disorganized, we're feeling scattered, we're feeling overwhelmed, or we're feeling burnt out.
Yeah.
So I'm actually doing a lot more around how do we get this health foundation set up in order for you to be able to continue to give to your team, continue to give to your clients, continue to give to your family, but also make sure you're prioritizing yourself.
Yeah. Because when you think about it, and we talk about this a lot in leadership, that in order to lead your team, you first need to learn how to lead yourself.
Lead yourself,
So if you're
yeah.
not taking care of yourself, then how can you possibly take care of your team? And it's not some noble cause that I'm just going to be burning the candle at both ends, so I'm providing value to my team. No, you're no good to anybody if you're not there.
Yeah, yeah. And I won't go into the story. That might be for another podcast, but I know 10 years ago, I was on the verge of burnout myself. And, I was really sick for months and I kept on going because I'm a business owner, I'm a mum, and I still had to do everything. And
Yeah,
one day I collapsed, and that was it. That was that
yeah,
moment where I had to say to myself, something's got to shift,
mm,
right? And it wasn't what do I give up? Because Darren, there was no way I was giving any of it up. I'm
yeah,
passionate about what I do. I love my business. I love my people. I love my team. I love my clients.
mm,
But I wanted to be a present mum.
yeah,
I wanted to write books. I wanted to do keynoting, all the things that I love doing. So that wasn't a matter of I'm going to work less.
yeah,
It was like, how do I have both? How do I have both of these things? And, one of them was outsourcing, which we often talk about. But you know what the most important thing for me was? It was the foundation of health.
yeah,
I needed to get that bit right. I needed to be the CEO of my own health in
mm,
order to do it. That was 10 years ago, right? There's no more collapsing in the shower. There
yeah,
is some exhaustion sometimes. But that's a good opportunity for me to reflect back and go, right, how am I going? How's my health? How's my food? How's my exercise? How's my mindfulness?
yeah,
How's my sleep? All of those
yeah.
things. It's that little trigger for me. But I am finding that people are really um, close to burnout, a lot more than what I've ever seen before.
And what do you put it down to? Is it the fact that the expectations are so high? Maybe coming out of things like COVID, we want to sort of make up for lost ground, lost time. Is it
Gosh,
the
yeah.
comparison to other people? Because we see things on all the socials to say, "Wow, you've got a Lamborghini, or you're standing in front of a magnificent Learjet, etc." Which most of all is all fake. But anyway, but
Yes, yes.
what do you put it down to? Why are we getting more fatigued and not having the time to sit down and stop?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things that I'm seeing, especially with the businesses I'm working with, is that I think we have, especially in financial services, we have more compliance requirements. We have huge tech available to us. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not talking just from an organization perspective about all the tech that we've got, but we've got AI on top of it. But then we've got a lot of scrolling happening as well.
mm,
So we've got a lot of people that are just doom scrolling. I think we've also got the staff shortages. I think organisations are trying to cut costs and they're trying to do more with less. And I think that the final bit that I really know is real is that we're actually our people, our younger generations, the Generation Z and the millennials, they want more from us as leaders.
mm,
And they need more from us as leaders. They want more feedback. They want more communication. They want more development. They want more coaching. So
yeah,
there's all these additional pressures that are being put on us around those five key areas that I talked about. That's why I think, and I do think, as you said, you're looking at other people going, well, look, they've got that. I need to do that, so I need to do more and more. Whereas
yeah.
for me, I needed to go. It wasn't about doing more; it was about doing it differently. And I think that's what we
Yes.
need to think about in business as well.
Yeah, and everybody's got their own, I guess, ideas as to what success looks like, what the benchmarks are, and we're saying by all means don't stretch yourself and set some big, hairy, audacious goals, but don't get caught into the game of comparing yourself with others and saying, well, that person over there has this, therefore they're more successful, or they've got a bigger following, therefore they're more influential, whatever the case might
Yeah,
be. Set your own benchmarks as to what you think success is and put some things in place that enable you to move towards that. Give yourself
yeah,
the opportunity to stretch yourself, but then also consider surrounding yourself with really good, high quality people who will not only challenge you, but they'll actually
mm,
be there for you to support you when the inevitable troughs come. Right?
in it, absolutely. There's a great saying: "Comparison is the killer of joy." And I think, even though I talk about that a lot with my children, don't compare yourself against others, compete against yourself.
Yeah.
But I also talk about it with leaders as well. They have this imposter syndrome that is real for many of them. And it doesn't matter what level I work with. And it's like, let's not compare around
Mm,
others and what they're doing. Let's actually look at what you're capable of
yeah.
and work from that. So I agree totally. We
Absolutely.
have such high expectations now. Our younger children, they think that it's just going to be so much easier. They need it all, and it worries me, right? It worries me that we're putting such high expectations on them as a person.
Well, this kind of leads into the conversation we're going to have today around the
Yeah,
5 love languages. But just on that point, one of the things that really frustrates me is, and I don't begrudge parents of our ilk that are wanting our children to have a better maybe upbringing, have
yeah,
access to more opportunities than we did because we were. I mean, it flows down. We want to have the next generation having
be
a little bit
better.
easier, be better, mate. And it's done with
Yeah.
the noblest of causes and the noblest of intentions. But when you have, and it really buggers me that when you have parents saying, "Oh, it's okay. You came last in the cross country, but you're a winner anyway. You can have anything you
Yes.
want. You can be anything you want to be." But we're not teaching them resilience. We're not teaching them that when they go out in the world, there will
Mm,
be people here there who will not treat you as you're being treated at home. You're going to have to
yes.
learn to fend for yourself. You're going to have to learn resilience. You're going to have to learn how to love yourself and stand up for yourself. And that's not to say you
Yes.
fight people, but just learn some life skills that life is not always a box of chocolates, as Mr. Gump says, right?
Oh
It's
my God, absolutely. Look, and this is why we're probably lucky we didn't record for the first 30 minutes because we could go totally off tangent. But how about I take that thread that you've just thrown to me and apply it to the love languages? Because I think, just as what we think about what our children need, we also need to think about what our teams need. And
yeah,
I'm going to talk about it from a sales perspective, so a sales team's perspective, but I'm also going to talk about it from a leadership perspective because although they're similar, leadership, when we think about the five love languages, is a long-term game.
Yeah.
Okay, it's long term. Whereas sales, we need to be making sure that we're really adapting the love languages on that regular, faster,
Mm.
real time. Okay,
Yeah.
so Dr. Gary Chapman, he created back in 1992, he created the five love languages. Now, the five love languages was essentially for personal relationships,
Yeah.
and it was to identify the way in which you like to receive love. Okay.
Mm.
And it was words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do you like to receive love? What I've identified throughout using the love languages through business is that the reality is the same within business, is that people still need to feel valued.
Mm.
And how people feel valued is different compared to how I actually like to feel valued.
Yeah.
Like, for example, many of the audience would go, I put on pizza every Friday night and I don't know why people don't stay, right?
And beer.
And beer, right? That's because that's not their love language. Okay.
Yeah.
That receiving gifts isn't a love language for them. So they're like, I'm out of here. I don't want pizza. I'll get something later on at home. Okay. Or when you actually say to someone, thanks so much, Darren. I really appreciate the hard work that you've put in this week. It's been absolutely amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. And you go, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Did you not just hear what I said to you? It's
Yeah.
because your words of affirmation is not that. So what we do know from a sales team perspective and a leadership team perspective is people will feel valued in different ways. And we
Mm.
need to, as leaders and leaders of sales professionals, to actually identify what that means for
Mm.
them.
So is it worthwhile then taking, because as you said, Gary Chapman did this based on personal relationships. Is it worth just going through each of them and just talking about in the context of sales and leadership what it might look like? Because then
Yeah,
there might be an opportunity for leaders who are listening to this to say, well, how do I now try to identify with my team what is their love language? Because there'll also be people thinking, hang on, Kylie, hang on, Darren, I can't go to my
bit
team
weird.
because we're a bunch of white collar blokes sitting in
Yeah.
a boardroom. We're doing multi-million dollar deals. I can't go up to old mate and say, how do you like to receive love, Bruce?
So I love it. And I'll challenge you on that because I work with builders and then I work with C-suites, okay? And I've done it on both of them, the poor thing, right? But the reality of it is how I position this, okay? So there's a couple of things. So Gary Chapman has the five love languages. It's free. We might even give you a link and you can just pop it into your chat bar, right? So sorry, into your comments section for the podcast.
Yeah.
So you can do a free one. The five love languages are free, but there is a business one that's applied the same way. That's chargeable through Gary's website. I find that when I'm doing this in businesses with burly men or white suits, not the white shirts, the white collars, I make it fun. Okay. I make it like a fun activity. So
Yeah.
it might be part of our group coaching program. It might be part of some work I'm doing with that senior leadership team. And I go, right, we're actually going to do an activity. It's called the five love languages. I want you to take this test at home. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to share that. So we have a bit of fun with it. And what happens with it, Darren, is people feel a bit, it's that connection, it's that
Yeah.
laugh together. So don't worry who the audience is. Use this as an opportunity to create a connection with the team.
Mm.
Okay. And then what we get the team to do is we get them to go around and say, okay, what was your scores? Okay. Now, words of affirmation are most of the time, that's the highest score. That's around 30% of the population want words of
Yeah.
affirmation, and then it becomes acts of service. But let's talk about it from a words of affirmation perspective. Words of affirmation mean that I like recognition
Hmm.
through words. Okay. So it could be something like, as I said before, Darren, thank you so much for your help this week. I know we had a massive week and I definitely couldn't have done it without you. You saved me so many times. Okay. Or I love listening to that phone call that you just had with that client. That was brilliant. You
Mm.
did amazing. You didn't rush into the pitch. You listened, you understood their needs. That's what we want. That'll get that real gold from the client. So it's that sort of stuff. They're
Yeah.
your words of affirmation. Questions about that one?
Um, no, and I think a lot of leaders would think that they try to do that as much as possible. What I find is they're not specific enough. So they'll
That's
say
right.
things like, Kylie, you were awesome this week. Just keep
Yeah,
doing it. And Kylie goes, well, that's great, but that
of
doesn't
course.
fill me with any
No,
great self-satisfaction because what specifically were they awesome about? It's like going to Macca's and you're hungry, but then you eat and then you're hungry again after about
totally.
half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're exactly right, which is why I like to give the example. I didn't just go, thanks, I had, busy week, I really appreciate it. It was thanks for this.
Yes.
Okay, so what I often find is the best way to do it is we're recognizing effort, not outcomes.
Mm,
Okay, recognizing the effort that they put in. So it's not just great number of sales this week or, great job on that meeting. It was like, I really noticed that you prepared really well for that meeting.
yeah.
And the way in which that came through with the client sounded amazing. You
Mm,
didn't rush the pitch, you stayed in the discovery space, loved it. Okay. So it's really thinking about that. But also, what I will say is it doesn't just have to be through verbal. Okay. It could
no.
be via Teams, it could be at the team meeting, it could be via an email. Like, seriously, it's a 2-minute task, isn't it?
Yeah.
To
It
send a
is.
quick email to do it. We know words of affirmation are important. And we also know millennials and Gen Zs want feedback on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
right? So we've got to get better at those words of affirmation.
And just on that point, and we're in the middle of, well, we've just started AFL finals, and a lot of the finals teams, you hear a lot of the coaches talking about their approach to their team ethos, the cultural stuff, and a lot of
Yeah,
them, well, if not all of them, don't focus on the outcome. Yes, they know the outcome's there, but they focus on the process and they give them feedback on how the team is playing against the team rules. What are they doing above and beyond the expectations they've got? So they're always giving them that sort of feedback that's very specific.
I
And
love it. Yeah,
what's fascinating is, yes, you just mentioned that millennials and Gen Zs love the weekly feedback. I'm not sure about you, but I'm staggered at the number of organizations where people tell me, well, we don't get feedback unless we've done something wrong.
yeah,
So if you've got a person who their love language is words of affirmation and they're not getting that, but all they're getting is words of criticism, then they're going to start to reduce their discretionary effort. They're also going to start to reduce their engagement levels. And you're
yeah,
going to lose a very valuable employee potentially because they're going to leave.
yeah, yeah. Feedback when it's not given is generally negative in their own minds.
Mm,
Okay. One of my team is words of affirmation. He loves feedback. He loves making sure that he's on track. So it could be, a quick piece of feedback where I say, yesterday. So for example, really busy these last few weeks and I've got to travel next week away. And I said, I really need you to focus on some of my real high EA tasks that I just feel like that are just backing up. And he's my EA and he
mm,
did amazing on clearing it. And he sent me an email saying everything's sorted, plugged in, whatever it needed to be done. And I wrote back and I said, thank you so much. I said, I felt like those really needed to be done, but I now feel like I've got clarity in my mind. I don't need to worry anymore that they're being done or haven't been done, and it's taken the pressure off.
yeah.
Really appreciate it. I don't even think that took me 30 seconds.
No, it doesn't cost much.
It doesn't cost much, right? But he gets that feedback now and he knows he's on track.
Mm, yes. It's like, and it's clarification and confirmation that he's accomplished something, but the method by which he did that, he's feeling, yeah, I'm on the right track, which means I'll continue to do that, or I'll look at how I can do things even more effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And as leaders, when they say to me they're too busy for it, okay, I question that because the reality of it is people get the results. So
Mm,
they really do have to focus on their people, and they need to free up. Like one of the, I was working with a optometrist, and he said, I don't delegate because if I delegate, something could go really wrong. Like we're talking an optometrist with surgeons, so we're not
yeah,
just talking someone that's in a storefront. And by
yeah,
no means am I degrading any of them. I'm just sort of
yeah,
painting the picture. And I said, okay, so how do we delegate some of the less risk tasks so that you can spend more time with them, developing them so that they can do some of those high risk tasks,
yeah.
so that we can fail fast,
Mm,
but without death involved, right? So
yes,
that would be better, wouldn't it? So,
absolutely.
so it was how do we delegate some of the lower tasks that we know sort of free you up so that you can develop and spend some more time with your people,
Yeah,
right?
makes sense.
It
Makes
does
sense.
make sense, and that therefore we get that feedback from them as well.
Yeah, nice.
So the
Um,
next one, acts of service.
I love this one.
Right. This is not going to someone's house and hanging out their washing, cooking them dinner. Although if anyone wants to do that for me, I will take it. Okay. But it's not that. Okay. It could be rolling up your sleeves.
Mm,
Okay. So it could be rolling up your sleeves and say, look, I understand everyone's got a huge amount on. What can I do? What's the one thing I can do to help support that? Okay. It might be if you can't roll up your sleeves because you've got enough on, it is how do you remove the barriers? How
mm,
do you remove the barriers for them? So it could be, Kylie, you've asked me to do that, but I am struggling to get this from one of our key stakeholders. And it's like, no worries, how about I give them a call? So it's how do
yeah,
you remove some of those barriers so that you can do it? Or it could even be, I've done this part of the work, can you do this part of the work? So
yeah,
acts of service is not necessarily you telling them what you're going to do, but it's like, Darren, how do I help support you in this way?
yeah,
What do you need from me? How can I
yeah,
best serve you?
yeah. And that could also be yes, verbally, but it could also be just by actions.
Just by actions,
And
absolutely.
we talk a lot about like I'm big on servant leadership, as I said, and it's sometimes the case of when people get into positions either in the sales organization or in a financial institution or wherever they happen to be a leader, they often have this perception placed upon them that, oh, you're now part of them. You're now part of the leadership. You're part of management.
Yes, yes.
You're part of a different tribe. So there's this separation or this sort of barrier that's been created, rightly or wrongly. But an act of service is, okay, I'm here to serve you guys. I'm here to make your job easier. I'm here to, as you say, remove barriers. But I'm not gonna do things and say, hey guys, look what I'm doing.
Mm,
I'm a senior executive and here I am rolling up my sleeves and I'm actually
mm.
doing some barbecue work today to help
Yes,
out our lower
yes,
individual contributors. No, I'm just doing what needs to be done to make it easy for my team to do what they need to do. And I'm
yes.
not going to verbalize it, but that's an act of service.
Totally, totally. Yeah. And I think and again, and if we relate this to personal and then we relate it to work, and if we
Mm,
think about it personally, a husband or wife doesn't matter. I'm not going to be gender biased here, but I might use husband. He might say, "Well, I've taken the clothes off the line and I've washed the dishes. Like, what else do you expect?" And so see how we can get that conflict, whereas she actually might have just said it would have been better for him to have said, thank you so much. I appreciate how big a week you've had.
yeah,
And what do you want me to do for you?
yeah,
Right. So that's when we can and this is the thing you'll have to remember in business as well with these five love languages, is you will be one of these five.
yeah.
Okay. And sometimes how we like to receive it is how we give it.
Mm,
Okay, so if the husband is acts of service and he's, taking the clothes off the line or cooking the dinner, and all she wants is recognition for all of the thing that it's not going to end well, is it, right?
that's,
There's going to be an argument somewhere along the line. So it's the same. It's not necessarily an argument within business, but it won't land, right? So if you are not acts of service and I
yeah,
come and try and take things off you and you're like, just thank me for all the
Yeah.
work I'm doing. I don't want you to take it off me. We
Mm.
can see that conflict.
So what do you think about, because you were talking about that, I'm thinking there was this phrase in my head that I remember one of my mentors always saying, and that is you cannot give what you do not have. So if you're, and a part of that is your motivator. So if you understand that somebody is driven by acts of service, but you're not, how
Mm.
can you now talk to them and create acts of service if that's not something that is driven by you?
Oh, yeah, it's
It's
great.
interesting.
It's a great question. And I always, in this situation, it's a bit like coaching. I always ask what and how questions.
Yeah.
So, how can I best support you, Darren? Or what is it that you need from me as a leader
Mm.
in order for me to support you during this time? So, it's those what and how questions. I'm not asking, do you need it?
Yeah.
I'm actually asking the what and how questions.
Yeah.
So, you might then say to me, it's look, can you just not bug me for a couple of hours so I can get these things done? I'm like, done. Okay.
Which is an act of service.
Which is an act of service. I'm now moving away, letting you do your thing. Or it could be, do you think you could just help me with this report because I feel like I'm just struggling with this part of it?
Mm.
Absolutely, no worries. Let me have a look at it and I'll come back to you.
Mm.
So when we ask what and how questions, we go future focused as
Yeah.
opposed to the because what will happen, and we see it all the time, especially if there's low psychological safety within teams, is people will not put their hand up to go, you know what, I'm struggling. I'm not doing so well. I feel like I
Mm.
can't do this. I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to prioritize. So we've got to be careful that we're not using the, do you need my help? Or I hear leaders go, well, I've told them they can come and see me. Okay.
They know my door's always open. I've told
They
them.
know my door's always open. Right. So it's what and how questions will move you forward to that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like that. I like that. And that's then thinking really clearly and carefully about what resonates with your people, what are they motivated by, and also knowing what their limits are, right? So just
Yeah.
read the room,
Yeah.
which is emotional intelligence.
Yeah. So, for example, I was in a coaching session the other day, and the coachee said to me they were overwhelmed and stressed. And I said, we'd gone through the coaching session, and I said, how can I best support you? Right. And it actually wasn't for me to do anything. It was that opportunity to
Mm.
have some time to have someone listen, which is quality time, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But that's the gold you get when you
Yes.
ask these what and how questions.
Love it.
The
Love
next one's receiving gifts.
it.
Diamonds and champagne will do it for me,
Yes,
but
please.
okay. So I don't want anyone to be thinking of lavish gifts in this situation. It could be one of my clients loves the books that I write, so she's brought a bulk of them and she gives them to her new leaders when they come on, right?
Hmm.
So she that's a gift, and she wraps it up. So it looks like a gift. So she wraps it up and she hands them as so it's a gift. It's not just a book, but here's a gift. I've thought about it. It could be a coffee. It could be, I don't know, it could be as simple as a picture or an article or something like that. I was reading this and I thought of you and I thought that you would love it. So,
Mm.
so gifts are, I remember when I was a financial advisor, I use these love languages because I learned about these love languages in the 90s when I was an advisor and when I was studying my psych degree. And I was
Yep.
like, so I was learning about emotional intelligence and I was like, I can use this in sales. But I was also learning about these love languages. And it was really interesting because I'd be able to go to my referral partners
Yep.
and some I could give them a Freddo frog, those large Freddo,
Yes.
and they would go wild, right? Others would go, oh, thanks. I knew theirs wasn't gifts, right? But I could give a certificate to other
Yep.
people that said top referrer of the month.
Yep.
And that was their words of affirmation. So I actually played with this when in a sales role to see what my referrals partners wanted from
Yep.
me. Bottle of wine, Freddo Frog, box of chocolates, whatever it might be, I use that to play with it. So I really think this is important for sales professionals and leaders to go, what floats the boat of the people that you work with, because if you keep giving them words of affirmation or buying them gifts and they don't want a gift card, like, have you heard that in business? People go, well, they get a $50 gift card or a $25 gift card. And it's like, gift
Well, how
cards never
about
spent.
yeah, absolutely. How about this one? They get salesperson of the month, and they get bonus. They get dollars, right? And not understanding that not everybody is motivated by money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They want something else. They might want the affirmation by words. They might want something different. They might want the active service. They
totally.
don't need
Right.
the cash. And they certainly don't want to be up on the top of the leaderboard because that means they're going to now be center of attention.
Yes. So this is, and what happens, let me talk about from a psychological perspective to the leader,
Mm,
right, of that person is they go, well, they're ungrateful.
totally.
They're
Totally.
ungrateful. And it's
Oh,
like, no, you missed it. You missed the mark. That's
yeah.
just not their love language. And this is how beautifully it can be applied in teams.
Mm. And the other one I'll add, and it doesn't cost anything, is the gift of your attention to people.
So that is quality time,
Oh,
right? So that's quality
um,
time.
but that's called a
Okay.
transition bridge. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the fourth one, right? So quality time is, and it doesn't, and I want to remind everyone here, quality time doesn't mean quality time always with you.
Mm.
Right. So it's not like, because people say to me, how do I find time? They want me. And I'm like, well, do they? Do they really want you? Or is there something else they want? So, for example, quality time might be if I come to you at your desk and say, hey, have you got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
You stop typing and look at me. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be around one-on-one time, and that one-on-one time not rushed. Okay, so I suggest every leader should be having a one-on-one with each of their team member once a month, and
Hmm.
that should be, yes, there should be some tactical stuff in that around their results and their KPIs and their measures and things like that, but the other part of it, the first part before we get into tactical, is all about how you going, what's
Yeah.
going on, what do you need from me, what value can I add as a leader for you. So
Mm.
quality time, it could be another really great option for quality time, we're seeing it a little bit more now, is offsites. So it
Yeah.
could be, so I do a lot of group coaching with leadership teams. It's just getting them together. Doesn't
Mm.
matter how often I get teams together and I go around the room and I go, what was the value today? They go, just the time to spend with my people, my
Yeah.
peers, my
Yeah.
leadership team.
Yeah.
Okay. That's quality time.
It is. It is. I love the way you frame that, particularly when it comes to the busyness and let's just say the open design of a lot of modern offices, where it's people are always. I mean, it's done for collaboration, and I get that, but it also means that you're easily accessible to a lot of people,
Yeah.
which in some cases almost creates this multitasking type of environment where I can sit down, I'm typing an email to you, Kylie, but at the same time, Bruce is coming up and having a conversation. I'm trying to do two things at once.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not quality time. So I love the way you say, well, quality time is when somebody comes up to you and say, hey, I've got a couple of minutes, you stop, you pivot, and you give all your
Mm.
attention to that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've probably seen this in some people's offices where they have either a separate couch, a separate table away from their working desk. And when they want to have quality time with somebody, they literally get up and they go and sit at that quality, that
Yeah.
central
Yeah.
desk where there's no laptop, there's no mobile phone, and it's just two people having a conversation, giving the
Yeah.
undivided attention. That
Yeah.
that says a lot to the person who is now coming in wanting to get time with that individual.
Yeah. And we have a space like that in our office too, where we have beautiful seating area where we sit down, we have a coffee, we have a chat, and then we
Yeah.
get into that collaboration. So that quality time, and again, think about it from a perspective is people are going to be a blend of these. So it's not, they're going to have a preference. They're going to have a
Mm,
preference. So words of affirmation might be my preference, but I still like gifts.
mm.
Okay. Or, gifts are my preference, but I actually still like and get value from you. I don't have to, in any of my teams, many of my staff, I don't have to book any sessions for our coaching and our one-on-ones. They are in there
Yeah.
because for them, they get value, but also quality time is important to them. They
Yeah.
want time with me where we can just talk about, work and personal
Mm.
stuff, but mostly work. And it's just this opportunity for them to go, you know what, I was thinking about this and I don't know how it would apply. And I'd go, have you thought about this or how might this work? And it's just, and then they get off and they go, wow, that was great. That think tank.
And one of my colleagues out of the States, actually, he does a lot of that, and he calls it a no agenda meeting.
No,
And
no,
it's a sit down where you're giving your attention to that person, and there's no agenda. There's nothing you want to necessarily create with them or talk to them about. It's just it's their time. And he said some of the most amazing ideas and topics can come out of that, just creating that space where,
love it.
hey, let's just talk. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know, in for 2 hours, it bleeds over to 2.5 generally. I have with my marketing and growth manager every Monday. And we have a light agenda around some of the real key areas of priority for focus, but there's also some fat in that so that we can actually have some of those side conversations.
Mm,
So that now, when she's finished with me, the rest of her week is set up
yeah.
because most of the stuff's out of her head, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it. And then again, I think often leaders go, you know what, I'm too busy for this, Kylie. But the reality of it is this is the gold. Understanding the love languages, understanding the needs of your people. That's when we get productivity. That's when we get engagement. That's when we get value. That's when we get happiness from our people, right?
Mm,
And when we get that, we get discretionary effort, which is what you were talking about before.
yeah.
We get people going, you know what, I'm going to put in more
Yeah.
because of that leader.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're not doing it because, well, they're not doing it because they're going to get something. They do it because of how the leaders created an environment
The
that taps
feel.
into them as they feel as if, you know what? And when you speak to people who are in that sort of zone, whether you call it flow or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes it's very difficult for them to be able to articulate what is it about this team, what is it about this environment that gets you so um, engaged, vibrant,
Energized.
energized. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to articulate, but it's just a feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we know through research that people leave leaders,
Mm,
not organizations.
100%.
Right. So again, you know, I know, and hopefully the audience isn't going, this seems all a little bit, you know, touchy, okay, which we'll get into the physical
Woo,
touch in a
bit
moment,
woo woo.
but a bit woo-woo. But right, this is connecting with your people. This is about really driving engagement. And again, I'll reiterate the importance and around that younger generation that are coming through. Millennials are now the majority of
Mm,
population within organizations.
yeah,
And then the Gen Zs, they are very socially conscious. They are very highly connected and want empathy and connection and
yeah.
collaboration. So we've got to start to shift the way in which we lead.
And you have to, and it comes down to, do you care about your people?
Yeah, yeah,
And John Maxwell says that all the time, that your people are asking that question, does my manager, does my leader care about me as a person? Now, if they don't, then you're probably not going to put the discretionary effort in. You're
yeah,
probably going to look for excuses to go and not so much drop your performance, but look for other things to do, go for other organizations. But
yeah,
if you know that your leader genuinely cares about you, and it has to be genuine, then
yep,
you're more likely to do whatever it takes to not please them, but make a contribution because
yeah,
it's a valuable organization to be part of because you feel valued as being part of that particular team.
yeah. I'll just add to that point before we get on to physical touch was Gallup recently released, and for those that don't know, Gallup survey goes out and assesses organizations and leaders and teams to understand the impact of great leadership. Okay.
Mm.
And they do it in countries worldwide, right? It's probably the most credible and reliable research out there. They just came out with some research in 2025 that showed that 51% of people in the workforce are currently looking for another job, right?
51%.
51%. So it was 49% in 2024. It's now 51%.
Wow.
So you got every second person looking somewhere else, right? So again, this is the power of connection. This is the power of connecting with your people.
And it also brings into question people who perhaps are promoted into a leadership position that they don't want because the people who promoted them didn't understand what their love language was, what they're
Yeah,
motivated by, but
yeah.
they've been given them that opportunity because they've been a great performer, individual
Great.
contributor.
Yeah, great technician, great practitioner all the time. I see it all the time.
Man.
Physical touch.
Yes.
Fine line
We've
with
got
this, Darren,
we've got to hug our team, right?
okay? Fine line with this. So a couple of things I will say is that it does not mean hugging. Okay. So you do not have to hug your team. Okay. And I think probably another couple of things to point out is that we have to be culturally sensitive.
Yeah.
We have to be, environmentally, contextually insensitive. So it kind of looks like it could be a shake of the
Mm,
hand, right? Great job, awesome job. It could be a high five. It could be, a tap on the shoulder, something like that. Amazing work. But be really mindful of that one.
yeah.
Physical touch is probably one of the lower ones that
Yeah.
people want in business. Might not be in relationships, but it certainly is in business. Well, physical touch, I've got some stats up here, is 5 to 10%. So you've got words of affirmation 30 to 35, acts of service 20 to 25, receiving gifts 10 to 15, quality time 20 to 25%. Now, this is a real key for leaders out there.
Mm,
People want time with you, or they want time to spend with someone else. So it could be, I don't need time with you, but God, I'd love to spend an hour with Darren and talk to him about how he's overcoming objections. Or
yeah.
I'd love to be able to sit in on someone's meeting and see how they're asking questions to their clients. Okay, so
Mm,
think about it from that. But physical touch, a lot less when it comes to is a lot less common in the workplace environment. Okay, it's slightly different to personal.
yeah. But you still need to know that because you look at some of the, I mean, sales environments, and as you said it before, high fives are, um, well, connected to, excuse me, high performance, excitement, celebration, stuff like that. So you don't have to go to the point of hugging people, but maybe there is a, cultural differences aside, there is a thing
Yeah,
where it's a celebration. So it's also an encouragement. Hey,
celebration.
well done, bang.
Yes,
It brings
yeah,
me to like Mel Robbins' book, The High Five Habit. High five yourself in the mirror, and I say that to some
yeah,
people. Just give yourself a high five in the mirror because it's that might be a physical touch for you that gets your
yes,
juices flowing to help you become more functional in a call you're about to do or a conversation you're about to have. So, um, but as you say,
yes,
be culturally sensitive around that.
yes,
And I do
yes,
know there are leaders that I work with who they are natural huggers, right?
yes.
And
I
and
am
it's
a natural hugger too, actually.
and gender neutral, but sometimes it's just, well, give me a hug, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, really? A case in point, one of my clients, I was doing a conference for him for his organization in August last year, and as part of the thank you after I'd finished doing the keynote, he actually gave me a gift, but in front of all of his national sales team on stage, he gives me a big hug. And I don't mind a hug, right? But I thought
Yeah.
because it was a really blokey
Yeah,
environment.
was it?
But it was interesting. But it just pointed to I guess the vulnerability and the connection that we had. It was contextual, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
he
contextual,
knew
that's
based on our
right.
relationship that that was something that I'd be open to. But he
Yes.
didn't even ask for permission. He said, "Oh, just give us a hug," and off he went.
So again, what that can indicate is that his love language is physical touch,
Yeah.
right? So again, this is why I love, and hopefully the takeaways will be for the listeners is to have some fun with this love language, take the test, use it within a group environment. Um, that way. So that's one way. I think another way is to go out and ask your team, how do they actually like to be appreciated, to feel valued, what is
Mm.
important to them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be done in a group environment, it can be done individually. But the fun you get from doing an activity like this with a team, and people will laugh and go, I knew you're a hugger, or I knew you just want the money. You just want someone to come and do your job, right? So it makes it for a fun connection activity as well.
And you said before that there's a standard test that you can do, which is a personalized one. Is that what you get teams to do as well, just to get
Yeah, just the
to get
free
some
one.
juices flowing? Yeah,
Yeah, the free one's fun because it does talk about the personal one. So what I'll get them to do is I'll get them to do it if they've got a partner, I'll get them to do it with their partner, and then
yeah,
I'll get them to do it from a work environment. So when you're
yeah.
answering the questions, think about it from a work environment as opposed to think about it from a,
Personal
a
perspective.
personal
Yeah,
perspective as
yeah.
well.
Nice.
But this is this opportunity, and if you don't want to do that, ask them, say, Darren, right,
Mm.
what do you need from me to know that you're on point, that you're
Yep,
doing well in your role? And you might go, look, if you can just spend some time with me once a month, that's it, quality time. If you can
yep.
say, or if they turn around, just, I don't know, just give me some feedback if I'm on track or if I'm off track, right?
Mm.
Words of affirmation. Give me a half a day off
Yeah,
once a quarter if I've hit my targets.
yeah.
Okay. So that
Mm.
is acts of service. So you can kind of, if you don't want to do the real deal, you
Yeah,
can actually ask the question and it'll come out. It'll come out in the words that they will come back. Think about from you because you don't want to be going, well, I've given them this and I've given them that and they don't appreciate it. Well, it's not that. It's just that they receive it differently.
yeah. And it's not hard.
And it's
It's
not hard.
it's a case of how well do you know your people,
Yeah.
and how can you build that genuine connection with them?
Yeah. And I can absolutely seriously say that when your people will feel understood, they will feel appreciated, they will feel valued, they will feel like you know them. Okay,
Mm.
so but then the results you get, productivity, engagement, happiness, you'll hear laugh, you'll create a culture,
Yeah,
right? And it makes sense to it, makes total business sense to do this stuff with your people and have some fun.
absolutely. I love this. So, for people listening to this, they might think, "Wow, this. We're a corporate. We don't talk about love." No, no. This is genuine understanding what makes your people tick, so
Yeah.
that you could be an effective leader for them, so you can help create a more encouraging, empowered, and high productive environment that will ultimately deliver results that will lead to all the things you talk about around boardroom tables. But you might have some challenges around how can we retain our talent? Well, sometimes you're not looking deep enough in terms of
Yeah.
what motivates your team. And if you did this, you might be amazed at what comes back.
Oh, they will be amazed. And I think if people are going, I'm in corporate, I don't think this will work, right? 70% of my business is in corporate, and trust me, this works.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an opportunity to not only understand, but also create a really great connection
Mm.
with your people. And it's
Yeah,
fun, right?
absolutely.
And we talked, I think we were talking about this either at the very start or at the very, before we even came on, is that one of the things that's really important for people is that they actually spend time with their team. They spend
Yeah,
time together getting to know them. So this is a way to get to know your people.
it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer,
Absolute,
absolutely.
absolute
So
no-brainer.
I'll give the link. Okay, I'll make sure, Darren, I provide you with the link so that you've got it. Use it, everyone. Like this is seriously some real great opportunity for you to
Mm,
grow as a leader and understand and get more out of your people.
love it, love it. I'll also so I'll put that in the show notes, but also tell us where can people find out more about the supercharged Kylie Denton.
So they can reach out to me on LinkedIn under Kylie Denton. I think it's Kylie Denton 5, but you'll find me Kylie Denton. Or they can reach out via our website, which is Performance Advisory Group. Um, Always open to a chat and understand people's problems. And one of the things, or challenges or opportunities, one of the things that we're really clear on, Darren, is that if we can help someone, we will. If we can't, we'll refer them to someone else. So feel free to reach out if anyone has any questions or wants to understand how this could be applied in their team as
Acts
well.
of acts of service right there.
Acts of service right there.
Awesome, Kylie. It's been an absolute pleasure. We need to do this again because there's probably
I
more
know,
topics we can delve deep into. So, thank you so
totally.
much, and
My
enjoy the rest of
pleasure.
your Friday up in sunny Queensland.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks again. Always, always a pleasure chatting with you,
Thanks,
Darren.
Kylie. All the best. Thank you for listening to the Exceptional Sales Leader podcast. I trust the information in this episode has been helpful in your journey towards becoming exceptional. And remember, please take the time to rate the show, subscribe to the show so other people can find it. But also, if I can help you, jump on my calendar, go to leadwithdarren.com and let's have a conversation about how I can help you along your journey to being exceptional.